Okay, so we got these 1041 spoilers, and it's looking like this is going to be a pretty good chapter. I also have a few things to talk about in this video, so let's get into it. So the title of the chapter is Komurasaki. On the cover page, Pudding hits Yanji and Niji for bullying Sanji. So I guess this is Oda still trying to make us like Pudding. It's not going to happen for me. I don't really like this character, and I also don't like her whole storyline with Sanji. I mean, I get that it's supposed to parallel the history of Imu and Joy Boy, but I still don't really care. Momonosuke says that Odin ripped out the most important pages of his logbook, the ones about Laugh Tale. So let me just go over what happened in the previous chapter before we get into this, because that will allow us to understand what's happening now. So in the previous chapter, we saw Law and Kid straight up defeat Big Mom. It was actually a pretty cool sequence with Law trapping Big Mom in one of his rooms, but this room was soundproof. This is a call back to how Corazon saved Law when he was young. Then Kid shot her inside of the bubble, sending her through Onigashima, and on her way down, she like smacked one of those bombs that Yamato was trying to take care of. And in the process, it like exploded the bottom of Onigashima, and she continued to fall all the way down into the water, but also into the crater that Law made in the previous chapter when he originally used his awakening on Big Mom. And on top of that, another bomb fell down there with her, exploding, and then that's when the narrator told us that Law and Kid had won. Now also, while she's falling, she says, "Don't expect this to kill me," and I'm pretty sure she's not lying here, because I do think that she's going to survive this, and it's also likely that she's going to get amnesia again and probably have a face turn in the process, even going so far as to maybe straight up saving Luffy at some point. But then at the end of the chapter, Momonosuke started talking to Yamato, and he said, "I cannot leave my task," which is, like moving Onigashima away from the flower capital. And he says, "So hear out what I have to say. Zunisha is very close by." And Yamato said, "What, the elephant from Odin's journal?" And Momonosuke said, "Indeed, a companion of Joy Boy, who committed a crime 800 years ago. And that brings us to where we are now, with Momonosuke saying that Odin ripped out the most important pages of his logbook, the ones about Laugh Tale. Now, it's possible that Odin did this himself, because maybe he felt that if it fell into the wrong hands, then they would know, the secret of One Piece and all that stuff. Or somebody stole them, possibly, and then that's going to be a plot point going on. But either way, this is just a convenient plot device for Oda, because it's too early in the story for people to know that stuff, especially Yamato and Momonosuke. Now, first of all, let me just say that I was wrong about Joy Boy being a Lunarian. I should have just stuck with what I originally thought with him being a giant, and what I guess the rest of us thought, because when we originally saw the giant Straw Hat in Marijois like 4 years ago, we all assumed, oh, Joy Boy was a giant. But until we got all that information on the Lunarians, a couple months ago, then I started thinking, oh, he was probably a Lunarian because of the Sun God Nika stuff with the fire coming out his head. But no, it turns out that that fire was very likely just from the awakening of the rubber fruit, which is actually the amber resin fruit or the oil fruit or something like that. Now, as for Zunisha, we were talking about him in the last video, trying to figure out what his crime was 800 years ago. Well, our boy Uteron did some more digging, and of course I have to keep going back to that well, and I always will, because he's Japanese and he understands all the punnery that Oda does, and since I am American and don't speak Japanese, I don't get any of that stuff. So he's kind of like our inside man, I guess you could say. So please subscribe to him, because he probably has the best reviews on YouTube. But anyway, long story short, Zunisha is the original Zou Island that ate a devil fruit, and he became Zunisha. I know it's strange, but there's actually kind of symbology for this, because if we go back to Enies Lobby, Spandam's sword thing ate a devil fruit and he became like the elephant thing, right? That's kind of like the parallels there. And then as for his crime, well, it's because apparently he may have lied about the island going missing. Like, I guess somebody from the world government or just somebody came looking for Zou, and then I guess he said, no, it's not here anymore, because he became the island, and that was like a lie. And the parallel for that, I guess, is the Minx lying to the Beast Pirates about Raizo not being there. And then the little nugget that I'm going to throw in there is it's not coming from Uteron. I've kind of been saying this for a while now, but on top of Zou eating a devil fruit, fruit. I'm pretty sure somebody performed the perpetual youth surgery on Zunisha so that he was able to make the 800-year journey, because, you know, he has the eyes. I don't know who did it. Maybe it was Joy Boy. I don't think so. Maybe it was like the original Odin, possibly. And then a third little thing I want to throw out there, the whale tree. I was curious as to what that could be, but now I'm thinking that maybe that's like the Zhoniin fruit tree. And I'm sure I'm not the first one to come up with that, but we do see 3 major trees. There's the tree in Marijois, Sunlight Tree Eve, and then there's the Adam tree in Elbath. So one is like Logia, one is Zhoniin, and one is Paramecia. Not concrete, just, you know, maybe. Orochi is trapped by the ceiling of the room where he was. Komurasaki reveals her true identity to Orochi. So we also saw a little bit of this in the previous chapter. After Big Mom swatted one of those bombs that kind of caused problems for everybody else in the vicinity, and we see Orochi like knocked over, but also Hiyori is there, but she has like the mask on. And I'm assuming she's like, hey, I'm actually Odin's daughter, you scumbag. And then I don't know if she's gonna like execute him, but she's gonna do something to foil him, I guess. Boss of the CP0 receives new orders from the Gorosei. Straw Hat Luffy must be eliminated immediately. So yeah, this goes back to what I was talking about a couple chapters ago with how the Gorosei was talking about that fruit hasn't awakened in years or centuries or whatever. And we were wondering like, what fruit are they talking about? And I thought, well, it's probably the rubber fruit, because we know that Luffy got it from the red hair pirates who got it from a government ship. And I'm pretty sure the government wanted that fruit because it originally belonged to Joy Boy, the giant. Sun God Nika. And they also talked about how they changed the name of it. It goes back to what I was saying about how it was originally like either the amber resin oil fruit, something like that. But it also could be called like the Nika fruit. Man, that sounds really problematic. Guys, I swear I'm just going off of the Japanese stuff. I think it's like onomatopoeia for laughing. But I also mentioned about how for sure we're going to see Luffy awaken this pretty soon, possibly in chapter 1043, because of like the number and the wording and the pun stuff that Oda does with nearly every single chapter. It's actually probably a good idea to just learn Japanese at this point, because then you'll be able to figure out what's going on in the story by just reading the chapter titles and the numbers. But once Luffy awakens the fruit, there's going to be like a fire aspect to it, and I'm pretty sure he's going to start resembling the silhouette that we see of Sun God Nika. We briefly see what happens in other parts of Onigashima: Jinbei, Zoro, Nami, Usopp. So I'm sure we're all really interested in what's going on with Zoro. The last time we saw him, he encountered that Reaper individual. That still hasn't been explained. I know we all have our theories on that, it possibly being tied to Enma, or it's like some kind of side effect from the drug that Chabra gave him, or it's the fruit ability of somebody on Wano right now, possibly. Because we did see Zoro in the previous chapter, and he was like bleeding on the ground, and I think this is after the Reaper thing, because he's in a different position. Kaido remembers in a small flashback the first time he met Big Mom when he was 15 years old. I am Lin Lin, the woman who will become the king of the seas. So Big Mom is like 9 years older than Kaido. So she was like around 24 at this time. So this was like prime aesthetically appealing Big Mom, if you know what I mean. And also this might be where she like gives him the fruit, possibly. Luffy uses the Snake Man at the end of the chapter and attacks Kaido with a new technique called Gomu Gomu no Hydra. So most of us know that the Hydra is like a mythological serpent-like creature with multiple heads. There's never like a concrete number on it, but it's just more than one. So this possibly could be similar to like the King Cobra attack that we've seen Luffy use against Katakuri, but like, you know, times 9 or something like that. So yeah, pretty powerful, but in the end this isn't going to be able to defeat Kaido, because it's gonna have to be the Devil Fruit Awakening that's going to be doing that. Luffy says, I'm not going to stop attacking you until I run out of energy. I'm definitely going to kick you out of Wano. But Redon says this is a brief spoiler and there's going to be more details in the next few hours. Maybe I'll make a follow-up video to this, but I don't know. I've got so many other videos that I'm working on right now, and I'm already incredibly burnt out as it is. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. Do you think Luffy is going to awaken his Devil Fruit in order to defeat Kaido, or do you think there's going to be a twist and Kaido wins or something? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you like the video, guys, please give it a like, please subscribe. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.